Hey guys, this is Jen from Head to Toe, and today I'm going to be doing an eyebrow tutorial for you. This isn't like everybody's tutorial for how to fix your eyebrows, but this is just how I do my own eyebrows and how I maintain them. Now, as you can see, I've let my eyebrows grow out a little bit, so I can show you the difference of what really clean, groomed eyebrows make. So it's going to show how to go from this to this. So here are a few helpful things to start with this tutorial. You're going to want, maybe an angled eyeliner brush. You can use an automatic eyebrow pencil. You can use anything like that. This is always really helpful. It's just a little eyebrow brush. Of course, some slanted tweezers, little cuticle scissors, and this is just a brow palette that I have. Hello, you can see me. A brow palette, there's some eyebrow wax up here that we're going to use. And you can also use brow color. And this is just the Anastasia Brows and Bloom palette that I really love. So first of all, let me just talk about where things should hit with your eyebrows concerning the rest of your face. So basically, the beginning of the eyebrows, that's right here on the inner corner, if you put a pencil or, like in my case, an eye brush, and you put it right to the side of your nose, that's where it should start. If you go like this, where the middle of your pupil is on your eye, that should be where your arch hits, right there. And then if you go like this, and make a line to the outer corner of your eyeball, it should make a line that goes to where your eyebrow should stop. So those will give you little basic guidelines. So here's a little nice close-up of my eye. So what I'm just going to do, since I haven't actually plucked or tweezed anything for quite a while, I just let it grow out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of eyebrow wax to just set my hairs in place. So I'm using this Anastasia Brows and Bloom palette that I've used a lot, obviously, because it's quite dirty. Just taking this angled eyeliner brush, and I'm taking this eyebrow wax, which is in the corner. I'm just applying it to the hairs. What that's going to do is it's going to help see where all of the hairs are when they're in place and which ones basically shouldn't be there. For the majority of Asians, a lot of eyebrows will go upwards in the first half of the eyebrow and they'll change directions, they'll go down. And that's how my eyebrows are too. So that's just something to keep in mind whether you're doing your own eyebrows or if you're a makeup artist and working on other ethnicities. I think a lot of Asians and Hispanic people actually have eyebrows that go in two different directions. So you have to be careful when applying things like brow powder or products to go in the same directions as the hairs are going in. I'm not super particular about what kind of tweezers I use. I just like to get the angled slanted kind because I find that those will grip the hairs better than a lot of like pointed tweezers or other styles of tweezers. Okay, so obviously as you can see here, you can clearly see my stray hairs. Sorry, my little patch of dry skin up there, please forgive that. So I have a few hairs above and below my natural eyebrow shape here. So just to start off, I'm going to clean up some of those and then I'm going to sort of assess the shape of the rest of my eyebrow. So just firmly grab each hair and you're going to pull it in the direction that it's growing in. So it's growing this way, pull it outward. If you're super sensitive to plucking your hairs, then one thing you can do is buy like an ointment for babies who are teething that helps numb the area, and you can just put that a bit on your eyebrow area before you start plucking. I've just cleaned up a little bit above and below, just the stray hairs. I didn't do anything to affect the shape quite yet, just because I wanted to see the shape of my natural eyebrows. And that's something really important to keep in mind. Most people are going to look best close to their natural eyebrow shape. One of the worst things you can do is to overpluck your eyebrows because it takes a really, really long time for them to grow back, and sometimes not at all. Now, taking a look at my eyebrows, the edges obviously are still a little bit uneven, and this is the point where you're going to stop and try to think about what kind of eyebrow shape fits your face. So let me zoom out again. So for my actual face, I kind of prefer a little bit of a naturally arched eyebrow, not something like supermodel, very, very arched, just because I think I have a bit of a more youthful face and it doesn't really match. A loose rule of thumb that you could say is the more arched and the more skinny your eyebrows look, the more sort of severe the look is, whereas the more square and full the brows are, the more youthful you look. So if you're trying to appear a little bit more serious and sexy, then you might want to have a bit of a more arched, angled brow. And if you want more of a youthful look, then I would say stick with more of a square shape if that's what you kind of have naturally, because you don't want to go too far away from what looks appropriate for your face. Nobody's going to look great with every kind of eyebrow, and it really depends on your own taste and personality. So I'm going to zoom back in. As I said before, I like doing a bit of a natural arch shape since my eyebrow sort of already goes in that kind of shape. With that in mind, I'm just going to make sure the edges of each line are just really sort of like clean and crisp. So I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to brush all of the hairs up, and that'll give me a clear view of the bottom line down here. Now take your tweezers and just get the little stray hairs that fall outside of this line. I think with my brows it's pretty easy to see that that is where the line should be for me. And the point of my arch seems to hit right about here. So there's a little dip right here that I'm noticing, so my tip is just take the biggest obstruction and remove it first. And after each hair, take a look at your whole face to make sure that the overall look is in line with what you're going for. Sometimes, especially with my eyebrows, one hair takes up a whole lot of space and a whole lot of color. I'm literally just going in one by one and finding the best shape. So now my bottom line looks pretty good, other than a couple of bald spots that are just because my eyebrows are shaped that way. Now I'm gonna go and focus on this upper line right here. I want this part to be fuller and like get thinner as it tapers down back here. So I'm gonna leave this front part mostly as it is, with some like random baby hairs up here that I could get rid of. I'm gonna take the brush and brush them down so I can see where things are growing above the line. So now I have a basic eyebrow shape that's a lot cleaner than this mess over here. I have really long eyebrow hairs. I don't usually like to trim them too much because I'm pretty lazy with my eyebrows, and mine most of the time they kind of fall in line. But I do get those random stragglers sometimes, like this piece up here, that it just kind of sticks out. So then I'll take some cuticle scissors like this, and I'll brush them really, really up, and just go in with my scissors and clip, you know, the ones that are super longer than the line of my eyebrows. Now definitely be careful with this step because you don't want to cut off too much where it looks unnatural. You don't want to lose the fullness of your brows. You obviously don't want to cut yourself. But just a little bit of that will help keep it so that your eyebrows don't really fall out of place as much. I'm going to do that once more, brushing the hairs down. And like I said, only do this if the eyebrows are really sticking out badly. If your eyebrows mostly behave, you might be able to skip this step. So now it's like pretty much staying in place on its own a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them in. One of my favorite things to use, I use two different things. My Anastasia Brows in Bloom palette right here, which has, you know, the brow wax and then a highlighter color and 2 different brow colors. I always use this lighter one. I find that you generally will be okay if you find a shade that's a couple shades lighter than your actual hair color. So this brownish gray ash color works perfectly on me, especially because I definitely have some sparseness between my brows. And the other one is this Leo Ellie Artist Auto Eyebrow Pencil, which I reviewed before, and I really like it because it doesn't make too dark of a line, so it just blends in really nicely, and that's what I'm going to use today because it's really quick and easy to use. So I'm just going to take this and check out where I have some sparseness in my brows, and I'm just going to make little swoosh marks. Like, imagine that you're drawing in individual little hairs on your brows. And on the other side I have this little lash spoolie. I'm going to just blend the color into my brows like this. And just groom them into place. Again, for my particular eyebrows, since it goes in 2 directions, I sort of brush the first half up and then the second half down. And there you have it. Compare this to my other eyebrow, which is definitely ungroomed, and you can see the big difference. This is not so clean and pretty, and this is nice and angled and in place. So let me do the other brow and I'll show you the full face. So this is the final look. As you can see, my eyebrows look a lot cleaner and more defined, and it helps just to brighten the whole face and make you look a lot more put together. It's something that a lot of people don't really think about, and it actually makes kind of a big difference in the end. So there's just a few things to keep in mind. First of all, try not to overpluck. You want to go with sort of the natural shape of your eyebrows and just make it look its best. Second of all, when you're plucking back and forth, make sure you do both eyes at the same time, unlike what I showed you right here. And just look back and forth and check and make sure everything does look as symmetrical as possible. Eyebrows are a lot like fingerprints in that, nobody is going to have perfectly symmetrical eyebrows. There's going to be little things that are different, and that's normal. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect because nobody's perfect. And no 2 eyebrows are exactly the same. And the third thing is don't fill in your eyebrows too dark because that can look really harsh on your face. If you're blonde, try to go about 1 or 2 shades darker than your natural hair color. And if your hair is darker, then I would say go 1 to 2 shades lighter than your natural hair color, and that'll usually work out in the end. So I guess that is all. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope that this video was really helpful for you. To find more videos and tutorials, please visit my blog. That's fromheadtotoe.com. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. That's twitter.com/fromheadtotoe. This is Jen, and if you found this helpful, please subscribe. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.